What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
We're back here, y'all, on The Great Debaters, and today we're going to be ranking something that's very difficult. We're ranking Compton's Most Wanted albums, man. The three, you could argue, masterpieces from Compton's Most Wanted, man. You got It's a Compton Thang, you got Straight Checkin, and Music To Driveby, which probably is one of the best album covers in rap history.
Album covers, oh yeah.
So let's start with It's a Compton Thang, man, because this is the first Compton's Most Wanted album. Obviously, I grew up in Maryland, so when I was hearing this album as a kid, it really made a big impact on me because they had, obviously Compton had been popularized by Eazy-E at the time, and NWA, and King T, Toddy T, Mixmaster Spade.
Yeah.
But by the time I got to, and I knew the Compton compilation. I didn't have it yet, but I knew of it. So when I heard It's a Compton Thang, the thing that struck me was that with One Time Gaffing 'em Up, obviously just hearing a different slang, because I was familiar with a lot of the slang that was coming up, but I hadn't heard it used in that way so prominently.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were first hearing it, It's a Compton Thang, what stood out to you as kind of a big first impression?
Honestly, when I first heard them, I was like, why did I not hear them sooner? Because when you hear Compton, you first think NWA. That's the first thing you think of. So I was like, Compton's Most Wanted's probably just like a B-side group. But no, they're excellent. Their first three albums that we're about to discuss really showcases that.
Yeah, I mean, they're all, I think you could say they're pillars of West Coast rap, each one in their own different way. And I think with It's a Compton Thang, to really establish them, and like you said, for the average person to not think they're just a knockoff or got a deal because they're from Compton, I think It's a Compton Thang really showed that. And there's so many great moments on it because this is Compton. It's just one of them. Like, you're getting their perspective from it, whereas I think NWA and Eazy-E kind of took like a sensationalistic route. I think Eiht, Chill, Unknown, and everybody was doing more of a street level, like for real street level, like day-to-day activity type of situation. What did you think?
No, I agree with that. I think that Eiht is such a great storyteller, and this is the album where we hear Chill, which he was only on Straight Checkin' him on one song, Growing Up on the Hood, I believe, and then Music To Driveby, he was absent. So I think this album they did phenomenal. On One Time Gaffled 'em Up.
Yeah.
We got the first Duck Sick. We got that one. We got a few just straight hitters on there.
Yeah.
I agree. Late Night Hype, can't forget that one. Yeah. I really, really started to mess with them though when Straight Checkin' them came on.
Okay. And before we leave It's a Compton Thang, one thing I think is important is that with Duck Sick in particular, that we get what EPMD kind of started too, this series of songs that Compton's Most Wanted did with Duck Sick and Death Wish.
Yeah. Which
we get to a little bit later. But with Straight Checkin' 'em, man, I just remember when I knew that Growing Up in the Hood was going to be on the Boys in the Hood soundtrack, I was like, oh man. In Maryland, nobody knew Compton's Most Wanted, but I was telling all my boys, I was like, yo, you gotta see this group, Compton's Most Wanted, man. They're gonna be on the Boys in the Hood soundtrack. And then when they put it on the album, I always had mixed feelings about that, but it worked so well, I thought, on Straight Checkin' 'em, because one, it's a phenomenal song.
It is, and the beat switch ups.
Yes, phenomenal. And they were, that had been done, but I don't think Compton's Most Wanted got enough credit for doing it in such an amazing way, sonically on the production. I don't think that people give them enough credit.
No, they don't. And especially, now we're talking about Straight Checkin' 'em, I love how the intro goes straight into Still Gafflin', where we had heard that sample. Dude, that's an amazing freaking song, and we hear the same sample that Big Daddy Kane used on Smooth Operator.
Yeah.
And one noticeable thing about Straight Checkin' 'em that I love so much is we heard that, which came after Smooth Operator, but we hear the It Was a Good Day sample prior. We hear Ahmed's Back in the Day. For Superman level Redman, we hear on this before.
No, I
so
think that's one of the amazing things about Compton's Most Wanted, man. They were way ahead of their time in the sample sources, especially kind of on the bluesy side of things. And I think also that they didn't get enough credit for this. You know, everybody knows them as a hardcore gangster rap group, but to sample kind of jazz, to sample this funk, to sample this soul stuff in the bluesy element too, man, is just phenomenal.
100%. And I feel like Eiht really got more of his voice here. I don't know. I think he had also more confidence in his flow in this project. His voice sounded a little rougher. He had to hold it down.
And I think too, like you see on like a Drive By Miss Daisy type of song, like it's just his wordplay and how they kind of came up with the things, like we talked about with the It's a Compton Thing, just the Duck Sick and Late Night Hype, and now we see Drive By Miss Daisy. It was just like, what are these kind of combinations that he was throwing out? I thought they were incredible.
The crazy piano going on in the chorus, and then all just that shooting, and then was the Scarface sample, I think.
And then one of my favorite songs, just for the comedic element, was the I Don't Dance, because how they threw on the Vanilla Ice sample and like to diss him, which rightfully so, you know. But beyond that, I just think it showed like how far ahead sonically and creatively that they were, because they're doing a song talking about like not dancing, whereas everybody kind of, this was still an era where people were excited to dance or were talking about dancing. You know, it's 91. They were like big into that, and still in the videos, even though of course we had moved more into the gangster, there was still that going on, and people were excited to see, you know, people dancing, and they were just like, "You don't dance, man."
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty crazy, because even, you know, House Party came out, and that was, you know, a big movie that had come out in 1990, but at the same time, that was like a huge movie, very popular, and with Kid and Play in it, that was kind of the anchor of the film, their dance scenes.
Yeah,
people knowing them from doing the Kid and Play, Kickstep, and all the things that they did, and for Eiht and Compton's Most Wanted to show like, nah, we're not about that, we're about what we're about. I just thought it was phenomenal.
Is that your favorite song now?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. But speaking of favorite songs, let's get to Music to Drive By, because the third and in effect final album before, you know, Eiht goes solo, and then we have, you know, reunions far in the distance, but for all intents and purposes, the last, you know, in their prime, in the era of Compton's Most Wanted record. What's your take on Music to Drive By?
Okay, so first off, we all have to respect the cover. Amazing. This is by far the longest project in tracks, is the first thing I noticed. So I was like, can Eiht really hold it down? He did, clearly.
By a lot.
A lot of songs had different concepts to them, which I thought was interesting, because I never saw Eiht as the most, you know, insane lyricist, but I thought his voice, the way he flows, it's not forced at all. He's very relaxed. His ad-libs with the Gia, all that good stuff. I thought that Eiht really held it down. And one thing I thought was also interesting was every track was under 4 minutes. Nothing surpassed that.
And then we have one of the best MC Eiht collaborations of all time is on this with In Too Deep with Scarface. So this was one of those examples where, growing up in Maryland, and, you know, because of go-go and because of go-go in DC and house music in Baltimore, it wasn't for a long time that we had our own rap scene. So for me, anytime I would hear different artists from different regions collaborate, it really excited me, because I was like, oh man, one day somebody's going to want to work with DC or Maryland artists. It took quite a while, but the thing that amazed me was, as a huge Scarface fan and as a huge Compton's Most Wanted fan, to hear them together. I never would have expected that at the time, especially because, you know, at this era, people weren't doing that many collaborations. So for them to do one and to have an unexpected one on top of that, phenomenal.
And the beat.
Dude.
You know, I can't not talk about that beat.
Nah. But I think it just showed, like, these are quote unquote gangster rappers, street rappers, reality rappers, thug rappers, whatever you want to label them. But you could tell their love of lyrics, love of lyricism, and love of like pushing to make a great song, which is, you know, something that we get on In Too Deep that I think now, you know, much later in 2018, we're seeing collaborations because it's cool or it's expected or your label mates or whatever. Whereas these dudes were doing it, I think, much more organically, as Scarface had told me and Eiht had told me. But I just thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And for you, even though the songs were all under 4 minutes, since there were a lot more songs, like how did that impact you listening to Music to Drive By?
So with that aspect of it, I find that there are a couple more songs that I don't really play too much on Music to Drive By in relation to straight checking them.
Okay.
Ironically, I don't dance too much off straight checking them, but on Music to Drive By, I don't really listen to the Tim Dog diss too much. Hood Rat, I don't listen to those songs as much, but you know, then you get what was that? Hood Took Me Under, the In Too Deeps. We get You Got to Get Over, Eight Is Enough, Compton for Life. It's hard to rank these two, man. I think at first it was straight checking them, but looking at that track list again, I'm really having doubts as to which one's better.
And I think for me, it's really a coin flip because I think In Too Deep is just such an amazing song and a breakthrough song to me. But I think Straight Checkin' 'Em has, obviously Eiht took the lead with Chill's absence, and then I think he settled into the groove of that with Music to Drive By. And I think that sonically there's a little more variance on Straight Checkin' 'Em as far as the sound of it. Whereas I think Music to Drive By really is in that theme of like, this is dark murder music, you know?
Yeah,
and
I agree.
And it doesn't change as much sonically. So for me, it's a tough thing, man. All right, Amir, so for the great debaters, we got to put these in order, man. So what's number 3 out of 3 of your list of Compton's most wanted albums?
The bottom of the 3, I gotta go, it's A Compton Thang.
I would agree, and I think it's also, as I hope you guys can tell, like we love all 3 of these albums. We're just putting them because we're trying to exercise and debate and evaluate these things, and we think all 3 of them are phenomenal. But It's a Compton Thang, I also agree, is number 3 out of 3. So for number 2, Amir, are we going with Straight Checkin' 'Em or are we going with Music to Drive By?
This is a tough one. I think I'm going Music to Drive By is at the 2 spot, mainly because MC Eiht, I feel like when Straight Checkin' 'Em came, he was on his own for the first time.
Okay.
Music to Drive By, he had a little bit of practice and just the foresight they had as a group to pick all those just great samples and great sounds and diversity of the sounds that we had on Straight Checkin' 'Em. I have to give it that very slight edge over Music to Drive By.
I would agree in the order, and I think for me it was more the sonic variance was the real determining factor, because I think lyrically, creatively, song theme, song concept wise, I think they're both great, but I do think that having more sonic variance on Straight Checkin' 'Em, I think showed their brilliance just kind of a half a notch more, whereas Music to Drive By, I think a lot of the beats, amazing as they are, they're kind of in the same thing because it sticks to the Music to Drive By theme, not only lyrically of course, but musically and sonically. So I think while phenomenal, also I'm gonna go with Straight Checkin' 'Em. So there it is, y'all. What do y'all think about the 3 Compton's most wanted albums? Make sure you hit us up in the comment section. I'm Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi, Rappin, and Snackin.
And make sure y'all check us out, comment, like, subscribe, hit us up. We're the great debaters, y'all.